new Mini arrived in 2001, and since then it's given way to so many different variations that we've nearly lost count. There's been the standard 3-door hatch, the 5-door hatch, and the Countryman SUV, as well as many more. But by far the most practical option has been the Clubman. Now, in its third incarnation, it's bigger than ever before. But with Minis trading on their sense of fun and character, has this one grown up a little bit too much for its own good? There are 9 cars to choose from in the Clubman range, going from a standard 1D all the way up to the powerful John Cooper Works Edition. Even base cars get alloy wheels and the clever split boot, which can be opened via the key. You might remember that the previous generation car featured suicide doors, though these have been replaced by more conventional ones that make entering and exiting the cabin a little easier. Of course, being an offshoot of BMW means that there's a huge optional extras list, which can very quickly ramp up the price. Inside the Mini, it's evident more than ever that they're getting an influence from BMW. We can't complain about that. The infotainment system works well and is easy to operate, and all the controls have a distinctly premium feel to it. And you can even change the colour of the mood lighting, which is nice. The new Mini Clubman is a much bigger car than the one it replaces, and it's around 100mm longer in fact, so legroom is much better than it used to be, though headroom is at a bit of a premium, so if you're slightly taller you might notice that. Now you can fit 3 people in the back here, though that's going to be a bit of a squeeze, but for 2 passengers in the back, longer journeys are going to be a breeze. Around the back of the Clubman is that split boot that I mentioned earlier. Now you can operate it via the key, which is pretty cool, and it offers slightly more space than a standard Mini, though it's still only in line with a Volkswagen Golf. You can of course extend it by folding the rear seats down, and that puts the load area to around 1,250 litres. This latest range of Mini Clubman has been fitted with some of the most economical and efficient engines possible, and because of that even the entry-level petrols will do well over 50 miles to the gallon, and the entry-level 1D diesel will do even better at about 70 miles to the gallon. Now this is the range-topping diesel, the Cooper SD. It'll do well over 60 miles to the gallon, and it'll even reach 62 in around 7.4 seconds, so it's still got plenty of pace. All this performance does come at a cost though, as this car retails for well over £27,000. Now, if you speak to anyone at Mini, they'll tell you about this thing called go-kart feel. Now, it sounds like marketing jargon, but in reality, they've installed it in most of the cars, and it means you can swap the settings in cars with adjustable dampers down here to give you maximum go-kart feel. What that does is it sharpens up the throttle response as well as putting more weight into the steering. Now there is definitely some playfulness to it. It's a little bit numb, but that comes from having an electric rack. There's still some sense of urgency that you do get in all Mini cars ever since they were created back in 2001. The Clubman does show its bulk though, and you can certainly feel the extra weight when travelling at higher speeds through tighter corners. Now you can specify the Clubman with either a 6-speed manual or an automatic gearbox. And there's not much of a penalty for having the automatic in terms of economy or emissions, so it's really down to personal preference. The automatic does shift nicely though, and you can operate it via these steering wheel mounted paddles, but in reality you're going to put it in drive and it'll just happily whisk you along, and that's one of the best things that you get with having automatic. The new Clubman certainly is a compelling package. It's good looking, it's economical, and it has that all-important premium feel that people at this price point are looking for. However, it's exactly that price that is the sticking issue with the Clubman, as it's simply more expensive than other rivals. However, it is good to drive, and thanks to being longer, it's more practical than ever before. Go easy with the options list, and the Mini can be a relatively easy car to afford. However, go a little bit harder, and it very quickly becomes a much more expensive car.